Alrighty. So as you can see, we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next, we will do our 4-H pledge. I pledge my head to clear thinking, my heart to greater loyalty, my hands to larger service, and my health to better living for my club, my community, my country, and my world. All right. So again, good evening, everybody, and I want to welcome you to our annual Achievement Night and Volunteer Leaders Appreciation. What a year 2021 was. I was praying, well, I am praying that this will be our last virtual Achievement Night, even though it's giving us some added convenience with planning. All I need to do is send out a Zoom link and to get everybody together. But there's nothing like being able to be together in person as we honor and recognize our achievements and all of our recognition for the previous year. So we will start with our 4-H youth. As you can see, we got a few areas where we'll be recognizing our youth, and we'll start with the project record, the project records. So, what are project records? 4-H project records are a summary about a project area over a 1 year span where you learn and gain new skills within their 4-H work as well as in other parts of their life. Why do a 4-H project record? Well, the information in your 4-H records will be useful as you fill out other forms in your life, like resumes, job applications, and college applications. They are a good way to help kids learn how to set goals early on, and there's some opportunities to look to earn cash and some scholarships depending on how you place. And so I know most of the kids, just being honest, most of the kids don't really like to do project records. I haven't met a kid yet who just likes to do project records, but it is great practice and application they can use as they grow and develop. So um, shout out to all of the club leaders and parents who are making and getting their kids to do project records. Our 2022 Anson County Project Record participants for the Cloverbuds Division. Now, Cloverbuds, they are non-competitive age, ages 5 to 7, and they're, like I said, they're non-competitive. In this category, we had Jamison Alexander, who did a project record on science and Clover Kids, and we had Zaire Smith Maxwell, who did a cooking project record. For the junior division, we had Dylan Alexander, who did a health and fitness project record, and he placed first, received a gold. Zoe Martin did a project record on food and nutrition, and she also received a gold, placing first. And Zoe did a second project record where she placed gold. This project record was on science and technology. For our seniors, ages 13 to 15, we had Andrew Martin. He placed first with a gold for an agricultural and science with in crops project record. I think Andrew did another one on food and nutrition where he also placed first. And we had Leah Smith Maxwell, who did a health and fitness project record where she also placed first. Please give these young people a round of applause. Like I said, I haven't met a I haven't met a kid yet who just likes to do project records. So great job for completing these project records on this past year. All right, next up, we're going to recognize our participants in our 4-H livestock show. So Anson County, we this past year in August 2021, we did have our in-person livestock show. We had, I think the year before that, we were virtual, and the year before that, I think we were virtual also. So it was good to be back in person. And so the 4-H Farm Credit Showmanship Circuit is a district showman circuit where they The kids will show and compete at in the different counties. And for Anson County, we had a heifer show. But for the district, we had in the Cloverbud division, we had E.B. Carpenter. In the intermediate heifer division, Maddie Carpenter placed first in the 4-H farm credit circuit showmanship circuit. And then in the senior heifer division, we had Lindley Martin placed third. And so please give this group a round of applause. Please don't ask me what I know about livestock. I just help coordinate it, but it's always fun to be a part and see these kids pulling around these 600, 700 pound animals. Always a fun and interesting thing to see. Next up, following our program, we will be recognizing our fashion review and creative talent participants. So, what is fashion review and creative talent? Fashion review it consists of 4-Hers modeling garments they make in the spring. All garments are made with the help of 4-H volunteers. Creative talent exhibited in the competition includes a variety of different categories, which we will go through. So our 2021 fashion review winners were in the Cloverbud fashion division was Zaire Smith Maxwell. For the junior teen division, we had Zoe Martin, who placed first, Leah Smith Maxwell, who placed second, and then Amelia Poplin, who placed third. And if you can see on the bottom of the pictures, the different submissions that they put in for the 4-H review, fashion review. For the non-garment division, we had Amelia Poplin to place first in the junior teen division. Our 2021 Creative Talent winners were in the Cloverbutt division, Jamison Alexander. In the junior Creative Arts division, we had Amelia Poplin, who placed first, Dylan Alexander, who placed second. And again, in the Creative Talent division, we had the Juniors Craft division, where Amelia Poplin placed first. And the photography winner was also Amelia, where she placed first. Please give this group a round of applause. Really great submissions this past year with the garment and the drawings and all that. All right, next we will be recognizing our junior outstanding 4-H'er. All right, so this year's outstanding 4-H'er is Zoe Martin. So Zoe is the daughter of Wesley and Charisma Martin. She is an active member of the Busy Bees 4-H Club. And here are just a few reasons why Zoe is an Anson County Junior Outstanding 4-H'er. So this past year, Zoe attended 4-H Summer Day Camp. She turned in 2 project records in which she placed both project records. She placed first. Zoe donated canned goods to a small farmers food drive. She also collected and donated personal care items to Harvest Ministries. Zoe attended all 3 leadership forums as well as all 3 prep meetings back in 2021. Zoe led the 4-H pledge during the first leadership forum, which happened to be during National 4-H Week. So that was a really big deal. With the leadership forum, Zoe, she's really stepped up and served as one of the youth co-hosts, asking panelists, which consist of local leaders, small businessmen and women, questioning during the various leadership forums. So please, let's congratulate Zoe for all of her hard work in earning the outstanding 4-H'er. All right, so next we will be recognizing the youth and teen leaders who have stepped up and have participated in the Anson County Youth leadership forums. Representing Anson County 4-H, we have Dylan Alexander, Micah Chance, Andrew Martin, Zoe Martin, and Amelia Poplin. Representing Holla, we have Jeremiah Kirkley, Zakiah Hickson, and Ambria Willoughby. Representing the Caraway Foundation, we have Kaylin Buchanan, Malik Cooper, and Jazaria Underwood. And a quick shout out to our zoning ordinance essay winner was Malik Cooper, who is also representing the Caraway Foundation. Please give this group a round of applause. All right, next we will be recognizing the youth entrepreneurs who participated in the Small Business Leadership Forum. These kids, these youth, they stepped in and they showcased their businesses. They gave advice, and it was a really, really insightful thing for all of the youth who were involved. So we have Garrett Edwards. We have Yana Parsons. And we have Gracie Stinson. All three of these youth have their businesses, they're entrepreneurs, and they're really doing some amazing things. Really, really amazing things. And the kids and adults alike, we both learned a lot from these youth. So again, congratulations to all of these youth and their accomplishments for this past year. Please give them a round of applause. And I'll go ahead and say, like we did last year, we'll do the awards packets. They'll be available starting next week. I'll probably send out an email just to kind of remind everybody. But those packets will be available next week. If you have any questions about them, about receiving your packet, just reach out to me and we will make sure you get them. All right. So next up, we will be introducing our first guest speaker, Mr. Ray Allen. So Mr. Ray Allen is the Anson County interim manager. He is actually retiring, I think again, so he will be leaving us soon. But throughout his time as the interim county manager, he has been incredibly supportive to the Anson County 4-H, and I'm deeply grateful to have met and worked with him. So without further ado, let's see if we can highlight him, spotlight him. There we go.
All right, Sam, are you ready for me to start?
Yes, sir. The floor is yours.
Very good, thank you. Well, first of all, thank you for allowing me to participate in this. I've enjoyed doing this before and appreciate another opportunity. I know that my remarks are supposed to be directed toward the 4-H youth, and so I've tried to gear it to that, and they'll be brief, but hopefully something that will be of some benefit. I thought it might be helpful for the 4-H participants to know a little bit about me, because my background is probably not very different from a lot of the 4-H participants. I grew up in a rural area of Durham County here in North Carolina, and I spent every summer growing up working in tobacco. My uncle had a tobacco farm, so that's how I spent every single summer until I went away to college. My family background was neither my parents nor any of my grandparents attended college, so I was the first to do that. I went to UNC Chapel Hill on a partial scholarship, and then I worked each summer and each break to help pay for the rest of my college tuition. I'm going to mention a couple things, and not because I want to look like I'm bragging, but what I want to try to emphasize is perhaps what hard work and can help you accomplish, and that's why I'm mentioning that. I made the dean's list 7 out of 8 semesters at Chapel Hill, I went directly to graduate school out of undergraduate and got my master's in public administration. And then in the end of 1981, I went to work for the city of Albemarle. And in just 2 years, I became their first assistant city manager. And then 3 years later, in 1986, I was appointed the city manager, and I was 27 years old at the time. And that's fairly unusual for city managers to be promoted at that age to an organization that's fairly large and complicated. But what I want to emphasize is that by the first day I got to work, I worked really hard, and I was enthusiastic about what I did. I was committed to what I did. And so because of that, I was able to be promoted very early, and I was just very fortunate that occurred. But I think it does prove that hard work does pay off. And so Sam had asked me to share maybe a few principles that I think may help young people become successful as they grow older and develop their own career goals. First of all, I would mention that the basis, the foundation has to be education and learning. And I would encourage 4-H youth to pursue the things, particularly that make them excited, that they're passionate about. In my case, my best subjects and the things I was passionate about were history and politics. For many of you, it's going to be something different. It might be math or science or the humanities, but pursue those things that make you excited. Don't ever give up an opportunity or overlook an opportunity to learn. We always hear that we're now in a knowledge-driven economy. And so what you know and the skill sets that you have, they're going to make a huge difference in the opportunities that you have in the future. And I want to go back again to hard work. I can easily say honestly that I've rarely been the smartest person in the room throughout my career, but there have been many times that I've been the most dedicated and the hardest working person. None of us have any control over our IQ or those types of gifts that we're given at birth, but we all have control over how much we're willing to work and what our work ethic is, and how dedicated we are to the pursuits that we undertake. The next thing I've mentioned is integrity. All of us are only as good as our reputation, and I think we always need to be mindful that we all need to be honest, fair, truthful, and a person of our word. And you'll find that your reputation will open doors for you throughout the rest of your life. The next thing is to be engaged and active. And you guys are already engaged by participating in 4-H and in looking at the projects that you've been involved in. Clearly, you're already engaged in that. I commend you for that. I encourage you to be involved in as many ways as possible in your community, in your church, and other activities. I've always found volunteering to be one of the most rewarding things that I've ever done throughout my life. And it really is something that has brought me a lot of satisfaction as I've grown older is to volunteer. And there are opportunities for all age groups. And, a couple of the people that Sam profiled earlier, he mentioned their volunteer activities. And I think that's great. The next thing I would say is be kind and civil. We hear a lot about the loss of civility in our society. And I think that does appear to be growing worse. And we've seen on the news people getting angry at school board meetings, at other governmental meetings, people exhibiting hostile behavior to someone who has a different belief, political belief or opinion about something. And that really is, that's unfortunate. That really accomplishes nothing except to make other people angry and to cause us all to be sort of further ensconced in our own views. So always be kind and civil whenever you can. This next thing is maybe a little unusual, and that's maintain relationships. And for kids of your age, that's definitely never typically a problem. Most of you have friends, you have classmates, you have family members that you have developed relationships with, but we read about people as they grow into adolescence and young adults, that they often lose track of their friends, grow apart from family members, and they may have to deal with loneliness, with depression, with substance abuse. And one thing that helps people deal with those things is by maintaining relationships with people who are supportive and who can help lead you in the right direction. And then the final thing I'd like to say is don't limit yourself. Um, the things that you can accomplish and the experiences that you can have in life are really only hampered by the limits that you place on yourself. If you establish goals and work to accomplish them, you're gonna suffer setbacks. That's inevitable for everyone. You're gonna have disappointments, but I think you'll surprise yourself with everything that you can accomplish. So that's my remarks. Thank you for allowing me to participate, and I wish you all the best of luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Allen, for those wise words. I'm hoping that we're taking some notes and catching on. I'm hoping, really hoping, that maybe one or two, or at least one of y'all, one of these 4-H's will grow up and maybe be a county manager one day, and will be in it for a long period of time. But thank you again for coming in and speaking with us on this evening, Mr. Allen. All right. So next uh, we will go on. We will begin to recognize our 4-H volunteer leaders. So we've had with Anson County 4-H and just the different programs that we've had going on this year. The Anson Youth Leadership Forum series has brought in a lot of support with panelists, guest speakers, and facilitators, and we will go through and recognize those volunteers. So we've had some Anson County government officials to participate with the Anson Youth Leadership Forums. Mr. Ray Allen, Anson County Interim County Manager, as well as Mr. Jarvis Woodburn, the chairperson for the Anson County Board of Commissioners. We'd also like to recognize a few community leaders with Ms. Tanya Chance, J.F. Harwood, and Janine Rodwick. We also would like to recognize a few of the businesses and organizations who have supported and helped to facilitate these forums. We have Loretta Cohen with the Cohen Virtual Education Academy, Shelby Image with the Anson County Chamber of Commerce, Derek and Heather Edwards of Studio 256, Kyle Poplin with the Speckle Paul, Rasan Roy with Spotlight Fitness, and David Williams and Cherie Shazar of the Ability Development Group. I'd also like to give a shout out to the facilitators who have helped to make these forums possible. The Angela Caraway with the Caraway Foundation, Gerald Cannon Jr. With Hampton B. Allen Library, Devin Pettiford with Holla, as well as Raven Spencer, Anson County 4-H volunteer leader. These facilitators have helped to run things in the background just to kind of make sure these events like this go smoothly. So I want to thank all of you volunteers for your work and just your support in making 4-H programming for our youth possible. Next, I would like to recognize our fashion review judges. These are some of the how can I describe them? The sassiest women I know, Mrs. Fanny Clyburn and Miss Jessie Blakeney. They were the judges for the fashion review as well as the creative arts, creative talent portion. And they did all the judging and they did all the scoring, and they were such a fun time. Next, I would like to recognize 4-H summer camp volunteers, starting with Ms. Denise Outher. She is out at the Wildlife Refuge. Amy Koff, Anson, North Carolina Cooperative Extension Agent. If you look closely in the second picture, you'll see her. In the WASP picture, you'll see her smiling, second to the bottom. We'd like to recognize Rashonda Terry, who is the County Extension Director. She took the time to help do a summer cooking class, a virtual summer cooking class this summer. So we wanted to recognize her. And then we wanted to recognize Kenzie Watkins, who is the Anson County Livestock Agent. She came in and did a great livestock program for summer camp. Right. All right, so please give a round of applause for all of our volunteers. They have helped me tremendously. No one person can do all this. No one person can do all of these things, and so it's been very critical and important for me to have great volunteers and supporters with 4-H. So next, I would like to recognize 4-H my 4-H volunteer leaders based on their years of service. Now, I consider the 4-H volunteers to be the backbone of Anson County 4-H. There's only so much I can do, and they do a really great job extending my reach as a 4-H agent. So at this time, we will go through and recognize the years of service. So we had DeEtte Maxwell with 2 years, Raven Spencer with 2 years, Ashley Cole with 3 years, Leslie Smith with 6 years, William Terry with 11 years, Stephanie Labrie with 11 years, Natasha Duncan with 12 years, Charisma Martin with 12 years, Deborah Ratliff with 16 years, and Addie Richardson with 16 years also. We have Miss Hannah Dunlap with 21 years, Kim Bennett with 30 years, Miss Ada Moore with 34 years, Miss Betty Garris with 38 years, and Miss Pearl Blunt with 39 years. Please give this group the biggest round of applause. I've been an agent. I'm going on 4 years, but from the moment I came into this position, they got me straight. They keep me straight, and they continue to keep me straight. So I appreciate my 4-H volunteer leaders. Next up, we will do our club charter seals, our 4-H club charter seals. And so 4-H club, they have to do an application, and to be able to use the 4-H logo, they have certain requirements that they have to fulfill. And so we have three clubs that we will recognize on tonight. The Busy Bees club leader, their club leader is Miss Betty Garris. The Eager Beavers, we have Miss Pearl Blunt. And the Anson High Robotics Club, which is ran by Miss Stephanie Labrie. Next, we will recognize our outgoing and incoming officers. Thankfully, there was no turnover. So our president is still Ashley Cole, vice president, Miss Leslie Smith, our secretary is Miss Pearl Blunt, and our treasurer is Miss Hannah Dunlap. So please give these volunteers, our officers, a round of applause. All right, next we will be hearing from our next speaker, Mr. Jerron Falk. He's an educator, CEO, and the owner of the Your Life Success Coaching and Consulting. I had the opportunity to hear Mr. Falk at a conference in Monroe, I think back in January, and he just, some of the topics he spoke on about just what's needed with volunteers and educators and adults with the youth and that we're dealing with. It was really on point, and I just couldn't think of a better person to come in and speak and just speak with our volunteers and just encourage them to keep doing what they're doing. So without further ado, I will spotlight Mr. Falk, and the floor is yours.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Mr. Cole. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for having me here. I am excited beyond measure to hear all the great things and wonderful things you all actually doing specifically as volunteers. Looking at the numbers from 21 years all the way to 39 years, that's a lot of different footprints. That's a lot of different actually impressions that you actually make upon the, especially in this day and age where they actually need it more than ever. So, of course, we know that there are different forms of communication where we have energy, you have your audio, as well as, just the physical itself standpoints. But it's important when one can actually take out their time to actually make a difference into the community as well as to the youth. Because when we're actually pouring into the youth, we're also saying we're giving back to the community in one way, shape, or another. There was a quote that I came across, and it stated that comparison is the killer of joy. So with that being said, it's more so on the lines that when we actually engage in what others actually are doing, we're following one's plan, and we're not actually seeking out our own purpose, and we're not actually following our own guidelines. All of us have a set of instructions that we must follow, and it's important. So for myself, I'm coming from a standpoint, CEO, owner, but I'm a father first. I'm an educator. I am a student who teaches. So it's important for me on a day-to-day basis to actually continue to actually learn, what my students are into and how I can actually become a better man, as well as a father, as well as an educator, a better friend, as well as a public speaker and business owner. To the volunteers, I will say each and every person that you actually leave your impression on, consider that a vessel. When you set that vessel out, there's a message that's going to be carried over from this part of the world to the next part of the world. Now, I'm a big thinker, and I'll tell you, my imagination sometimes runs wild to where I'll be in the daze at times, but it's okay. I think that's a lost art, especially when it comes to us as far as like being volunteers, because you have to have some kind of grit about you. And I love to use that term grit because everyone doesn't have that in them. So just actually listening to all the different achievements that you all have actually accomplished over your 21 years, your 30 years, your 30 years, your 34 years, your 38 years, your 39 years. That is beyond impressive. And to have this platform to give you your flowers now is a blessing. I will say this is actually a party. So anytime you actually have individuals that actually have an understanding of a common goal, to where they're actually looking to fulfill those desires, actually pushing our youth forward, that is beyond important. So I say to you all this, that regardless of how the night itself dims, look towards the light, because at any given moment, you never know what kind of conversation, what kind of handshake, what kind of simple gesture can go in place of a child. I love the fact of knowing that our youth, especially this day and age, they're so open to the idea of actually, okay, well, let me hear what this older person has to say, right? Let me hear what this elder has to say. And 9 times out of 10, they'll go ahead and call you out if it's not accurate, or they don't actually receive it in a certain manner. So I feel like this day and age, that's where our generation itself and the generation actually before us kind of actually meets and goes hand in hand with kind of actually getting this generation straightened out, getting checked, if you would. I love the concept of actually just volunteering. Like everyone else is out here actually looking for buck, right? We're out here trying to actually capitalize or monetization on things that we actually do that actually should come from the heart. So one thing I actually do, one thing I keep in mind is that whenever I actually place my integrity in front of a dollar sign, God leads the way. I always remember that to the point where not everything is about the currency, but the current, present. So I say to you all this, continue to do your great works, your great deeds, and I promise you, it'll pay off eventually. You never know when they'll actually pay off and how it will actually be paid back to you. But as long as you're actually paying it now, it'll always be paid forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Falk, for those words. Just to kind of echo, and I won't be a third speaker, but you mentioned something about being able to hear from your elderly, and I think that may be the missing link for a lot of young people. Just putting yourself in a position to where you can hear from somebody who has been through it. So again, shout out to all of my volunteers. I really, really appreciate you all, and thank you, Mr. Falk, for your words of encouragement to our volunteers.
Thank you very much.
All right. Well, that essentially wraps up our 4-H Achievement and Volunteer Leaders Appreciation Night, I will go through some quick announcements and some upcoming events we have. On tomorrow, February 23rd at 5:30, we will be hosting our prep meeting for the next Youth Leadership Forum. Any of the youth that are on, you all know that if you're interested in participating on the next Monday, you need to be in on this meeting. On Monday, February 28th, we'll be hosting our 5th installment of the Youth Leadership Forum series. We'll be celebrating Black History Month by examining how we are living Dr. King's dream, specifically in Anson. So that should be interesting. On Saturday, March 19th, we need to have a little fun. So we'll be traveling to Charlotte for a Charlotte Hornets basketball game. Please review the requirements to attend this event. And then we'll have our next volunteer leaders meeting on April the 12th, starting at 6 p.m. And if you haven't heard, we are having our Anson County 4-H and 4-H Youth Promise fundraiser. We actually have an online auction going as well, and that will be running through Thursday, March the 31st. And I'll leave you all with the quote. The quote says, "If you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together." That's an African proverb, and it really sits home with me. My big thing this year has been to partner, so that we can broaden our reach and impact a larger audience. Yes, so this quote really stuck with me. But again, I'm extremely thankful to know and work with an amazing group of individuals who care deeply about our community, and they're committed to leading our youth. As a 4-H agent, I've said this time and time again, I can only do so much, but I can multiply myself through 10, 15 volunteers. And so I am extremely blessed to know and work with such amazing people, and for that I'm thankful. I'm also thankful to work with such great youth. You all are the cream of the crop, and you have such bright futures. So continue to stay the course, and I look forward to seeing the great things that you will accomplish in your life. So thank you for joining us for the 4-H Achievement Night and Volunteer Leaders Appreciation. You all take care and have a good evening.